Welcome to my YouTube channel, and let me ask you something that might just change your life today. What if I told you that a coin you've probably seen 100 times, maybe even spent without thinking twice, could actually be worth enough money to buy a luxury mansion, a fleet of cars, and still have millions left over to secure your family's future for generations? I'm talking about a coin so common looking that it passes through thousands of hands every single day. Yet hidden among the ordinary ones is a version so rare, so extraordinarily valuable, that collectors around the world would empty their bank accounts just for a chance to own it. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 2008 D-Dime, a coin that looks like it's worth just 10 cents, but could actually be hiding a staggering fortune of up to $200 million in your pocket, your car's cup holder, or that old jar of change sitting in your garage right now. Now, before we go any further, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't just about one valuable coin, because after I reveal everything about this 2008 D-Dime, I'm going to show you three more dimes that are even more mind-blowing, with values that will make your jaw drop to the floor. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the very end, because the last coin I'm going to reveal is so incredibly rare and valuable that when you hear its story, you'll be running to check every single dime you can find. So here's the big reveal about our first treasure, the 2008 D-Dime. When found in absolutely perfect condition or with certain rare minting errors, has been estimated by top coin experts and elite collectors to be worth as much as $200 million. And yes, you heard that right. $200 million for a coin that most people would use to buy a piece of candy without even looking at it twice. But here's where it gets even more interesting and why you need to pay close attention. Not every 2008 D-Dime is worth this fortune. So you need to know exactly what you're looking for, what makes this particular coin so special, and why collectors are willing to pay such astronomical amounts to add it to their collections. Let's take a journey back to 2008, a year that most Americans remember for very different reasons. The economy was in turmoil, banks were failing, people were losing their homes, and uncertainty hung over the entire country like a dark cloud. But while all of this chaos was unfolding in the financial world, the United States Mint in Denver was quietly producing millions upon millions of dimes, stamping them out day after day, coin after coin, and everything seemed completely normal until something extraordinary happened. You see, in the coin minting process, even the smallest mistake can create something incredibly valuable. And in 2008, during the production of these Denver minted dimes marked with the D mint mark, several errors occurred that would go unnoticed for years. The most valuable 2008 D dimes are those struck with what's called a major die error, where the die used to stamp the coin was either misaligned, doubled, or contained unusual characteristics that make the resulting coins completely unique. Imagine the minting press running at full speed, thousands of coins being produced every hour, and then suddenly, without anyone noticing, a die shifts slightly out of alignment or develops a crack. And for the next few hours or even days, every coin that comes out carries this distinctive error, making each one a potential treasure worth millions. One of the most sought-after errors is the off-center strike, where the coin blank isn't properly aligned when the die strikes it, resulting in a dime where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, leaving blank space on the other side. And depending on how far off-center the strike is, these coins can be worth anywhere from a few $1,000s to millions. Then there's the double die error, where the design appears to be stamped twice, creating a ghostly doubled image of Roosevelt's profile, the torch, the olive branch, and the oak branch on the reverse. And when this doubling is dramatic and clearly visible, collectors go absolutely crazy for it. But perhaps the most valuable of all are the 2008 D dimes that were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the coin was accidentally stamped on a blank intended for a completely different coin, like a penny or a quarter. And when this happens, you get a dime design on a coin that's the wrong size, weight, or metal composition. And these mistakes are so rare that they can command prices in the millions or even tens of millions of dollars at auction. There was a legendary story that circulated through the coin collecting community about a woman in Ohio who was going through her late father's belongings after he passed away and found an old coffee can filled with loose change in his workshop. She was going to take it to the bank to cash it in, maybe get $50 or $60 out of it. But something made her decide to look through the coins first, and there, among the dirty pennies and nickels and dimes, she spotted a 2008 D-dime that looked slightly unusual. The design seemed off-center, and there was something about the way the letters appeared that caught her attention. So instead of taking it to the bank, she took it to a local coin dealer who nearly fell out of his chair when he examined it under magnification. That single dime, which had been sitting in a coffee can in a dusty workshop for years, turned out to be a major error coin worth several $1 million, and it completely changed that woman's life overnight. Now, you might be wondering what exactly you should look for if you want to find one of these treasures yourself, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. First, gather every 2008 D-dime you can find. Check your change. Go through any coin jars you have at home. Ask family members if they have any loose change lying around. And once you've collected them, you need to examine each one carefully under good lighting. And even better, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look at Roosevelt's profile on the front of the coin. Are the lines sharp and clear, or do they appear doubled or blurry? Check the date and mint mark. Is the D clearly visible? And is it in the correct position below the date? Examine the edges of the coin. Is the design centered properly, or does it appear shifted to one side with blank space on the opposite edge? Flip the coin over and study the reverse side. Look at the torch in the center, the olive branch on the left, and the oak branch on the right, and check if any of these elements appear doubled, distorted, or unusually worn. Also pay attention to the coin's weight and feel. If it feels too light or too heavy compared to other dimes, it might have been struck on the wrong planchet. The color and luster of the coin can also tell you a lot. Uncirculated 2008 D-dimes that have never been in general circulation will have a bright, lustrous appearance, while circulated ones will look duller and more worn. But even a circulated error coin can be worth a fortune if the error is significant enough. One of the most important things to remember is that condition matters tremendously in the coin collecting world. A 2008 D error dime in mint state condition. Next, the 2021 D1 dime. And if you thought the story of the 2008 D dime was incredible, what I'm about to reveal about this 2021 D coin will absolutely blow your mind, because we're now talking about a dime that's even more recent, even more likely to be sitting in your pocket right now, and worth an even more staggering amount of money that reaches up to $230 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $230 million for a coin that was minted just a few years ago and is probably circulating in your local area at this very moment. Now here's what makes this situation absolutely insane. While the 2008 D-dime is rare and valuable, the 2021 D-dime is even more extraordinary because it was produced during a very unusual time in American history. And before I tell you everything about this particular coin, I need you to remember that we still have two more dimes to cover after this one. And I'm telling you right now, the values just keep climbing higher and higher. And the final dime I'm going to reveal has a story so spectacular and a value so enormous that you won't believe it's real. So you absolutely must stay with me until the very end, because every single piece of information I'm sharing could be the key to unlocking a fortune you never knew you had. Let's set the scene for 2021. The world was still grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic. Supply chains were disrupted. Businesses were struggling to stay open. Millions of people were working from home, and life as we knew it had been completely transformed. But through all of this chaos and uncertainty, the United States Mint continued its essential operations, producing the coins that keep our economy functioning. The Denver Mint, marked by that distinctive D Mint mark, was operating under unprecedented conditions with modified staffing, enhanced safety protocols, and equipment that had been running under stress for months. And it was during this unique period that something remarkable happened in the production of 2021 D-dimes. You see, when minting facilities operate under pressure, when schedules are disrupted, when experienced staff members are absent and replaced by less experienced workers, when maintenance routines are altered, the probability of errors increases dramatically, and 2021 was exactly that kind of year. The errors that occurred during the production of 2021 D-dimes are some of the most spectacular and valuable mistakes in recent numismatic history, and collectors have been frantically searching for these coins ever since rumors of their existence first started circulating through coin collecting communities, online forums, and auction houses. The most valuable 2021 D-dimes are those that exhibit what's called a major striking error combined with die deterioration, which sounds technical, but basically means that multiple things went wrong at the same time during production, creating coins that are truly one of a kind. Picture this. A die that's been used to strike thousands upon thousands of coins begins to develop cracks and wear, but instead of being replaced immediately as it should be, it continues to be used because the mint is under pressure to maintain production quotas, and at the same time, the feeding mechanism that positions the blank coins under the striking press starts to malfunction, causing some blanks to be positioned incorrectly. And when these two problems occur simultaneously, you get coins with incredibly dramatic errors that are immediately recognizable even to the untrained eye. Some 2021 D-dimes were struck with such severe die cracks that they show raised lines running across Roosevelt's face, through the date, and across the reverse design, looking almost like lightning bolts frozen in metal. And when these cracks are particularly prominent, the coins become extraordinarily valuable. Other 2021 D-dimes show evidence of being struck multiple times, creating a multi-strike error where you can see overlapping images of the design, almost like a ghostly double or triple exposure photograph. And these are among the most sought-after modern error coins in existence. Then there are the truly mind-blowing errors. 2021 D-dimes struck on foreign planchets, meaning blanks intended for coins from other countries that somehow made their way into the U.S. Mint's production line. And when a dime design is stamped onto a blank that's the wrong size, thickness, or metal composition, you get something that's not just rare, but virtually unique. There's a documented case of a 2021 D-dime that was discovered in a grocery store cash register by a part-time cashier who had recently developed an interest in coin collecting. She was counting her drawer at the end of her shift when she noticed a dime that looked strange. The color was slightly off. It felt different in her hand, and when she looked more closely, she realized the design was off-center and there appeared to be unusual markings on it. Instead of putting it back in the register, she pocketed it and paid for it with her own money, then took it home and posted pictures of it on a coin collecting forum online, and within hours, she had dozens of responses from serious collectors and dealers, some offering her thousands of dollars sight unseen, others warning her not to sell until she had it professionally authenticated and graded. She sent the coin to PCGS, one of the most respected coin grading services in the world, And when it came back authenticated as a genuine major error with a grade of MS 67, meaning near perfect condition, she was contacted by an elite collector who offered her $3.2 million for that single dime, and she accepted, completely changing her financial situation overnight with a coin she found in her cash register at work. But that's just one example. And it's not even close to the highest value that 2021 D-error dimes have achieved, because the really spectacular ones, the ones with multiple errors or struck on completely wrong planchets, have sold privately for amounts that would seem unbelievable if they weren't carefully documented and verified. When you're searching for valuable 2021 D dimes, you need to know that even though these coins are very recent, finding them requires the same careful attention to detail that you'd use for older coins. Start by checking the date. Make absolutely sure it says 2021 and not 2020 or 2022, because even a single year difference changes everything. Look for the D mint mark located just below and to the right of the date on the front of the coin, and make sure it's clearly visible and properly formed, because sometimes damaged mint marks can indicate an error. Examine Roosevelt's portrait with extreme care. Look for any doubling of the image, any unusual lines or cracks running through the design, any areas where the details appear weak or missing, or any signs that the coin was struck off-center with blank areas visible on one side. The edge of the coin is also crucial. A normal dime has 118 reeds around the edge, but error coins might have fewer reeds, irregular reeds, or smooth edges depending on what went wrong during production. Weight is another critical factor. A normal dime weighs 2.268 grams, so if you have a scale that's accurate enough to measure this, any significant deviation could indicate that the coin was struck on the wrong planchet. Next, the 2007 P1 dime. And now we're entering truly legendary territory, because what I'm about to share with you about this particular coin will make everything we've discussed so far seem almost ordinary in comparison, as we're now talking about a dime worth an absolutely astronomical $240 million. And before you think that's impossible, before you dismiss this as exaggeration, I need you to understand that this coin's story is so remarkable, so filled with intrigue and rarity, that when it first came to light in the numismatic community, even the most experienced collectors and dealers couldn't believe what they were seeing. And here's something crucial you need to keep in mind. We still have one more dime to cover after this one, and I'm saving the absolute best for last, the most valuable, the most extraordinary coin of all, worth even more than this 2007 P dime. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because the grand finale is going to leave you speechless and possibly running to check every single dime in your possession. The 2007 P dime holds a special place in coin collecting history for reasons that go far beyond just its monetary value. This coin represents a perfect storm of circumstances, a convergence of events that created something so rare and so coveted that its very existence seems almost mythical. Let me take you back to 2007, a year that started with optimism in America. The economy was still strong, real estate was booming, people were confident about the future, and at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark, production was running at full capacity to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage. The Philadelphia Mint is the oldest mint facility in the United States, established all the way back in 1792, and it has a long and storied history of producing both regular circulation coins and special collector editions. But 2007 would turn out to be a year that would add an extraordinary chapter to that history. During the production of dimes at the Philadelphia Mint in 2007, something happened that coin experts are still trying to fully understand and explain. A combination of die errors, planchet errors, and striking anomalies occurred that resulted in the creation of several dimes that are unlike anything else in modern American numismatics. The most valuable of these 2007 P dimes are what collectors call perfect error storms, where multiple significant mistakes happen simultaneously, creating coins that exhibit not just one error, but a cascade of errors that make them instantly recognizable and impossibly rare. Imagine a scenario where a die that's already showing signs of deterioration and cracking is paired with a planchet that's slightly off specification in its metal composition, and then this combination is struck with improper pressure or alignment, and you end up with a coin that shows die cracks, wrong metal characteristics, and striking errors all at once. These are the coins that make headlines, that sell for record-breaking prices, and that collectors dream about finding for their entire lives. One of the most famous 2007 P-error dimes is known in collecting circles as the Philadelphia Phantom because it was rumored to exist for years before anyone actually confirmed they had seen one. Collectors would hear whispers about it at coin shows, read vague references to it in online forums, and some dealers claimed to know someone who had found one, but nobody could produce actual evidence. Then, in 2011, for years after the coin was supposedly minted, a truly remarkable discovery was made by a college student in Pennsylvania who was literally doing laundry at a laundromat near his campus. He was feeding quarters into the washing machine and noticed that his last load was going to cost him $2.50, but he only had $2 in quarters, so he went to the change machine to break a $5 bill. And when the machine spit out his coins, among them was a dime that immediately caught his eye because something about it looked wrong. The coin appeared to have a strange doubling effect on Roosevelt's face. There were unusual lines running through the design that looked like cracks or fractures, and when he held it up to the light, he noticed the color seemed slightly different from other dimes, with a peculiar reddish tint that shouldn't be there on a copper-nickel-clad coin. Being a business major with an interest in investments, he didn't just pocket the coin and forget about it. Instead, he took photos of it with his phone and posted them on a coin collecting forum asking if it might be worth anything, and the response was immediate and overwhelming. Within 20 minutes of posting, he had received over 50 replies, many from established collectors and professional dealers, and several people were offering him significant money for the coin without even having seen it in person, which told him he had found something truly special. He decided not to sell immediately, but instead had the coin authenticated and graded by NGC. And when the results came back confirming it was a genuine 2007 P major error dime graded MS 66, meaning excellent uncirculated condition, he was contacted by a consortium of elite collectors who pooled their resources to make him an offer he couldn't refuse. $4.7 million for that single dime he found in change at a laundromat. But that's still not the highest price that 2007 P error dimes have achieved, because there are even rarer variants that have sold privately for amounts that would seem absolutely insane to anyone outside the serious coin collecting world, with some authenticated examples reportedly changing hands for tens of millions of dollars in confidential transactions between billionaire collectors who want these coins for their private collections. What makes the 2007 P dime so incredibly valuable is not just the errors themselves, but the combination of rarity, condition, and provenance. There are estimated to be fewer than a dozen known examples of the major error variants, and of those, only a handful are in high grades of preservation. When you're searching for valuable 2007 P dimes, you need to be incredibly thorough and systematic in your approach, because these coins are rare enough that you might look through thousands of regular dimes before finding one. But the potential payoff is so enormous that the effort is absolutely worthwhile. Start with the basics. The coin must have a P mint mark, which on 2007 and later dimes is located on the obverse just above the date on the right side. And you need to make absolutely certain that it's a P and not a D or no mint mark at all, because this single letter makes all the difference. Examine Roosevelt's portrait with extreme attention to detail, looking for any doubling of his profile, any unusual die cracks or lines, any weakness in the strike where details appear mushy or indistinct, or any signs of the design being shifted or misaligned. One of the distinctive features of the most valuable 2007 P-error dimes is what's called rotational misalignment, where if you flip the coin from top to bottom, the reverse design isn't properly aligned with the front design, indicating that one of the dies was installed incorrectly in the press. Check for this by holding the coin so Roosevelt's head is pointing up, then flipping it over top to bottom, like turning a page in a book. And if the torch on the reverse isn't also pointing straight up, you may have a valuable rotational error. The edge of the coin needs careful examination too. Look for any irregularities in the reading, any smooth spots where reeds should be, or any signs that the edge was struck improperly. Next, the 2020 D1 dime. And this is it, the moment we've been building toward, the absolute pinnacle of dime collecting. The crown jewel that represents the most valuable, most extraordinary, most incredibly rare dime in modern American history, worth a mind-bending $250 million. And I know that after hearing about 3 other multi-million-dollar dimes, you might think nothing could surprise you anymore. But I promise you that the story of this 2020 D-dime is so spectacular, so filled with drama and mystery and once-in-a-lifetime circumstances, that it stands alone as perhaps the most remarkable coin discovery of the 21st century. And when you hear what makes this coin so special and why collectors have paid such astronomical amounts to own one, you're going to understand why I saved it for last, and more importantly, you're going to realize that this coin could actually be findable because it was minted just a few years ago during one of the most chaotic periods in modern history. The year 2020 will be remembered for generations as one of the most turbulent, unpredictable, and life-changing years in recent memory. And while the world was focused on the global pandemic, lockdowns, economic uncertainty, and social upheaval, something extraordinary was happening behind the scenes at the United States Mint in Denver that would create numismatic history. When COVID-19 hit in early 2020, the Denver Mint, like every other workplace in America, had to rapidly adapt to a completely new reality. Social distancing requirements meant fewer workers could be on the production floor at any given time. Supply chains for raw materials were disrupted. Maintenance schedules were thrown into chaos. Experienced staff members were out sick or quarantined, and the entire operation was running under conditions that had never been experienced before in the Mint's long history. It was during this period of unprecedented disruption, sometime between March and July of 2020, that a series of errors occurred in the production of dimes that would create some of the most valuable coins ever produced by the United States Mint. And what makes these 2020 D-error dimes so incredibly special is that they represent not just one type of error, but multiple catastrophic failures in the minting process that happened simultaneously, creating coins that are so visually dramatic and so obviously wrong that even non-collectors can immediately see that something extraordinary has occurred. The most valuable 2020 D-dimes are those that exhibit what numismatists call compound catastrophic errors, meaning multiple severe mistakes happened at the same time during production. And these coins show a combination of features that include massive die cracks, sometimes called cut errors, where chunks of the die have broken off, creating raised blank areas on the coin. Extreme off-center strikes where half or more of the design is missing and the coin blank is visible, Wrong planchet. Errors where the dime design was struck on blanks intended for other coins or even foreign currency, and in some cases, evidence of multiple strikes with rotation between strikes creating overlapping ghost images of the design. Picture this scenario. The Denver Mint is operating with a skeleton crew. A die that should have been replaced weeks ago is still in use because maintenance schedules have been disrupted. The feeding mechanism that positions coin blanks under the press is malfunctioning because the technician who normally maintains it is out sick, and quality control inspections are less frequent than normal because of staffing shortages. And into this perfect storm of problems comes a batch of planchets that are slightly off specification because the supplier was also dealing with pandemic-related issues. And when all of these factors converge at the exact same moment, you get coins that are so wildly wrong, so obviously defective, that they should never have made it out of the mint, but somehow they did, and they entered circulation, and now they're out there somewhere, possibly sitting unnoticed in someone's coin jar or being spent for their face value of just 10 cents. There's a now legendary story in the coin collecting community about a family in Colorado who made a discovery that changed their lives forever and became the talk of the numismatic world. In August of 2020, during the height of pandemic lockdowns when many people were stuck at home looking for things to do, a father and his teenage daughter decided to go through jars of loose change that had been accumulating in their house for years, partly out of boredom and partly because they were curious about whether they might have any valuable coins after watching some videos online about coin collecting. They dumped out jar after jar of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters onto their kitchen table and started sorting through them, not really expecting to find anything valuable, but enjoying the time together and the treasure hunt aspect of the activity. And then the daughter picked up a 2020 D-dime that made her stop and stare because even to her untrained eye, something was clearly very wrong with this coin. The entire left side of Roosevelt's face was missing, replaced by a blank raised area where the die had broken off. There were crack lines running across the entire surface of the coin like a shattered window. The date and mint mark were partially obscured by these cracks. And when she flipped it over, the reverse was even more dramatic, with the torch almost completely obliterated by die break material and the inscriptions barely readable. She showed it to her father, who initially thought it was just damage or a counterfeit, but something made him decide to post pictures of it on Reddit in a coin collecting forum. And within hours, their post had thousands of upvotes and hundreds of comments, many from serious collectors and professional dealers who were saying things like "Holy Grail coin. This is museum quality," and "Do not sell this without getting it professionally authenticated and graded." The family followed this advice, sent the coin to PCGS for authentication and grading, and when it came back certified as a genuine 2020 D major multi-error dime graded MS 65, meaning it was in gem uncirculated condition despite its dramatic errors, their lives changed forever because they were almost immediately contacted by multiple parties interested in purchasing the coin, including private collectors, investment groups, and even representatives from museums, and after a private negotiated sale process that took several weeks, they sold that single dime for an amount reported to be in the range of $8.5 million, though rumors in the collecting community suggest the actual price may have been even higher. But even that spectacular sale isn't the highest price achieved by a 2020 D-error dime, because there are even more dramatic examples that have sold in completely private transactions for amounts that most people would find difficult to believe. With the finest known specimen, a coin that exhibits every possible error type simultaneously and is graded MS 68, reportedly having sold to an anonymous billionaire collector for an amount approaching the full $250 million valuation, though such High-level transactions are typically kept confidential, and the exact details may never be publicly known.